Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. It's been a very busy week this week, and I've been hustling and getting as much done as I can. In this video, I'm going to bring you up to date on the Bronco seat. I'm going to show you up close on the material choice that I made on the seat, and a lot of detailed tips and tricks on making patterns. Middle of the video, we're going to take a little road trip. I think you'll enjoy that. A little t-shirt contest mixed in with it. And then we'll come back into the shop and bring you up to speed on where we made it on the end of the video on the Bronco seat and what we've got left to do. So stick around. Hope you enjoy the video and hope you get something out of it. Please like, tag, share, and subscribe. Tune in 3 times a week. Hey guys, and welcome back. This is part 3 of doing this seat. This is not a how-to video. This is how I do it video. So I hope you get something out of it, take something away from it. Today I'm going to finish shaping the foam, how I want the seat to look, and we're pretty close already. The next step is to take this clear vinyl and make our patterns. Now this vinyl is what I use. It's pretty cheap per yard. And I can see through it and make my marks from my foam. And also it is thick enough to where it mimics the leather or the vinyl or the fabric that you're actually going to put on the seat. So it gathers up in the edges and the corners. So you'll know if the pattern works good, the material should work good, and your sew lines and where you want to cut and make your seams will work properly. So let me get this camera a little closer and let's take the seat apart. Now I'm going to take the seat apart because we've already determined where it joins, the top and the back join on these foam lines. If this was going to be a seat that I was going to run pleats to the top and the bottom, then I would go ahead and make my pleat lines down to where they're going to line up when I put the seat back together. You don't want these pleats to be off from the bottom to the top. That wouldn't look good. Your patterns would be all mixed up. So, but with this way, with the plaid that I'm putting right here, as long as the plaid is straight, and we've determined that by measuring from the back to the foam line up front, so we keep everything parallel with this, then our pattern should be fine. That's the thing you got to worry about with plaid is after you sit in it for a while and it begins to stretch a little bit, your seams will, not the seams, but the pattern on the fabric itself wants to tend to spread. I'll glue and sew it to the sew foam, which is going to help it out a whole lot, but you're still going to get a little bit of that. That's just part of it, but it doesn't look bad. So anyway, let's get started and take this seat apart and make some patterns. I find that sanding the foam down and smoothing it out will help making patterns. It's not going to make that much difference if you don't do it. If you've already got a cover made, because this foam's real soft, it's going to push in. It's not going to be lumpy. Also, I drag it backwards. If I try to sand this way, it's going to gouge it, catch it. So just drag it backwards. about that? The light decided to come back on. All right, so what I'm doing now is I rough cut a few pieces of the clear vinyl, and I'm gonna lay it up here on the foam, put a couple of push pins through it, and then start tracing out my pattern of my foam. All right, so this is why I use the clear. This is going to be a seam, and you can see the plastic. And I'll trace through that, and then I'll cut this out. After we make these patterns, I'll show you, you'll have to add your sew allowance to the pattern. The pattern is going to be an exact cut of where the panel is. It doesn't include any kind of sew allowance. All right, so far, all I've got left to do on the bottom are the two sides. I'm having a little bit of trouble because my plastic this time, I had to run down to Walmart and get it. I couldn't find anybody to cut the yardage. I looked over to the side, and my wife had found the same exact stuff already cut and folded up in a package. And it's great. My only problem right now is that it was folded up in the package, and it hasn't had time to let the wrinkles flow out. So I'm going to get the heat gun and heat it up just a little bit and let some of these wrinkles flow out so that I know that I've got a good pattern. So far, I still got to trim this.
now that if I get down here at eye level, I can see that this line is not really in the spot that I want it to be. Doesn't matter now, but it matters. All right, so I was going to cut this, but I believe I want to keep this all one panel, so to be super smooth across the front. Put a seam here, wrap around panel, and this blue, if you can see the blue, that's going to be a French seam going across. So let me get this. All right, now we need to trim. Now we need to trim the back side, trim down the sides, and then we'll make the side panels. All right, so here we go. I'm still gonna let this thing sit overnight, maybe hit it with a little bit of hot air tomorrow and see if I can get the wrinkles out and see if any of my lines move. But this is how I do it. Each one of these panels is separate from each other. Everything is marked top, passenger 1, top, front, top, that's the bottom. This is so I won't get confused later. They're marked all the way around the sides, the front. And then I've got the witness lines. And that'll keep, these will be transferred over to the upholstery. I've got a little ear clipping tool that will clip a notch in each one of these locations. That notch is to be lined up with the notch on this panel. And now keep in mind, we have to add our sew allowance. And depending on how you like to sew, some guys will add a 1/4 inch, some guys will add a 1/2 inch. On this side here, I like to add at least a 1/2 inch because I'll have a rod looped in the bottom, and it'll tuck down in this groove that I made right here, and then it'll hog ring on the listing. The rod will slide into the listing, I'll show you later, and it'll hog ring on to the springs down here, and it pulls and tucks the bottom in, and then the padding or the white, off-white material will come over this way and pull down tight, and it'll tuck and haul ring under the bottom. anyway, I'm jumping ahead. But this is how I do it. Everything's pinned up nice and tight. And once I add my sew allowance and make my marks and sew it up, then you'll start to see it. But anyway, that's where I'm going to leave it today. It's been a long day in the shop. Got the patterns made for the seat, and now we got to do sew it up. So got the tops done and the back done. Let's move on to the next project. All right, as you saw, this was folded up in a package, and it's a lot cheaper that way, but you have to deal with some wrinkles. So let's put a heat gun to this. Smooth the wrinkles out so that our patterns will be right dead on. And it's really smoothing out really easy, so. Once again, like I always say, this is not an educational video. This is just how I do it, and I just hope that you guys that are watching me can take something away from it. I get a lot of nice comments from a lot of you guys that have tried some of the stuff that I do, and you tell me how much better it worked for you, and man, that's why I do these videos. You can't see it, but it's already stretched 1/4 of an inch. And it's not stretching because I'm heating it and making it stretch. It's stretching because I'm getting that wrinkle out. There's another big one right here. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're on a little road trip. As you saw a couple of videos ago, I was selling my long time owned 64 Ford shop truck. And I sold it, and there it is behind me. We are delivering it to the new owners, and hopefully they'll enjoy it as long as I have. It's been a long week. Lots of stuff going on. Hadn't really been able to put out a decent video. Lots of little pieces here and there on what's going on this week. So stay tuned. Catch up in the shop and see what's going on. And very soon I'll have of the Ford Bronco seat, and hopefully we'll get it finished this time. So stick around, watch the video, let me know what you think. I sure appreciate everybody giving me all the support that you have, and I promise you I'm going to keep it going and keep you entertained somehow or another. Thanks again. Anybody know where we're at? If you know where we're at, or you think you know where we're at, comment below. First one to get it right, I'll send them a t-shirt. Oh dear. All right, here's my last little walk around of the old Spanky Hot Rods and Custom shop truck. Gonna miss it, but it's already been replaced. But time to get it unloaded at its new home. The material choice for the Bronco seat is the Overlander in blue. That's a plaid. I got that from my buddy Josh over at Relicate. Interested in that? If you can't find him online, let me know and I'll get you the information. And the off-white is from Albright Supply in Corinth, Mississippi. That's one of my go-tos for all of my materials and supplies. All right, so on the seat, here's what we've done. We've got the top and the bottom real tight patterns made. And when I say tight, they're tight. So if I add a 1/4 inch to all of my patterns for sew allowance, or 1/2 inch, whatever you want to do, you'll be sewing on the line that's actually the pattern, but the sew allowance is the extra fold in the back, to where you can tighten it up a little bit if your patterns aren't tight. If you want to make it a little bit tighter, that's fine. It'll stretch, but you don't want to make it too tight. So anyway, here's all my witness marks. It lets me know once these patterns are all pulled apart, it lets me know what the pattern is, where it goes on the seat, where it lines up, where the hash marks will need. I'll show you my little tool that makes these like a factory tool. Lets me know that 2 lines up with 2. So when I forget all of this, when it's off and it's on the table, you'll see here that it helps me remember where everything went. All right, guys, so that's going to be it for today's video. Please like, tag, share, and subscribe. Follow along to the end of this seat, and maybe you'll be able to share this with somebody that you know that's in the middle of doing this themselves. So till next time, get out in the garage and go build something. Thanks for watching.